Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. Welcome back to my playthrough of LA Noire. We're continuing from where we left off, so let's do the next part here. If you guys enjoy this series, drop a like. It does help the series out a lot. Those are origamis.
House fire. Bad one. At least 4 Vicks. Get out there and find out what you can. The address is 650 North Hobart.
I say we bust in there and find the goddamn evidence.
Yeah, let's bust in there and find the goddamn evidence. This is the biggest meme in this game, I think.
Of yourself, young man.
Here's what I heard.
I think Herschel has my favorite card of all the partners in the game.
You hear about Rancho Escondido?
Are we having a conversation, Biggs?
Okay, fuck it. Forget
I'm teasing you, Herschel. Tell me about it.
Well, the new housing development's a couple of weeks from completion. Burnt to the ground last night. GIs are ready to move in this weekend. Developer's gonna have some very angry customers.
Any available unit, meet the officer.
Shit about Jack.
Just occurred.
The arson desk has been trying to nail that son of a bitch for years.
He's still in custody, Herschel.
Wanna bet? Fella kicked the moose already. Can't hold him for misdemeanor cigarettes and matches.
Yeah, so the police cannot... If he didn't commit a crime, they can't hold him. Even if they think he's gonna commit a crime, they can't really hold him. They're talking about the guy that you chased, basically across the street in the first arson case. This house is far, okay. At least we're close by now. Already see the destroyed house. And I think this is gonna be the case, the really disturbing bodies. Let's see if it is. One of the house fires, remember, has a bunch of bodies, and it's pretty messed up how they're placed. Suburban redevelopment. There too, yeah, music, turn this back on. Here we go.
You guys better see this. I hope you have strong stomachs.
Do you have a name?
Morelli, Mike. We recovered a picture of the family.
Okay. Anything else?
To be honest, I just got here, Phelps. Best you talk to Lynch. He's the expert.
Doesn't make any sense. Why aren't they scattered around like the rest of the debris?
I think they've been moved.
Moved?
I think someone moved them after the explosion and before the fire.
Can you explain that, please?
I'm almost positive the cause of death is asphyxiation due to gas inhalation. Look at the parts of their bodies that aren't scorched. The coloring around the fingertips is typical.
They wouldn't have felt a thing.
I think the fire damage is post-mortem. I think someone moved him into this room after the explosion.
It still doesn't make any sense. Why would you run into a burning building?
Yeah, this.
doing?
The prayer effect is from the fire. The muscles and tendons contract.
Just when I think I've seen it all.
You ever think about how many people have died in this world? And how big heaven would have to be to accommodate them bigs?
No, I have not. Show some respect.
It's our boy. I think he watches the fires. I think the Sawyer fire went wrong.
So what about the guy we have in jail, Phelps?
We got the wrong guy.
That doesn't explain why he ran into a burning building. What would make anyone do that?
Guilt.
For the fires?
For his mistake. This guy wants to burn houses, not families. He expects the houses to be empty. He was trying to redeem himself. He probably thought they'd be happier together.
You are one very disturbed individual, Phelps. I know you had it rough lately, but you should start to compartmentalize your thoughts.
You could be right. Can you come up with an alternative explanation?
Sure, it's the same guy.
Are you telling me that some son of a bitch murdered these people, the whole family, and arranged them here like Cupid dolls?
It might fit, Cole, but I don't think we could ever prove it. There's very little evidence.
Evidence?
Albert, check out the hot water system. Make sure we're dealing with the same MO.
Sure, Phelps. I'll get back to you.
Leave the rest to us, Cole. You better find out what's eating Biggs.
So, there's a reason that Herschel rented a house like that.
Not much help.
This is the bedroom. This is probably where they died. Children's room. This house has a basement. Crap, okay. The basement survived mostly because it was made out of brick and it was underground.
This is the flashpoint. The heater detonated with enough force to expose the foundations.
Also, a building like this would be extremely unstable. They would have to be very careful walking around in it. The foundation of the building is busted, the entire house could come down. This looks like probably the other kid's room.
So something finally got to you.
You want my help, pretty boy? You got it. You keep riding me and you won't be pretty much longer.
We can get this guy, Herschel.
You think you've seen everything, Phelps? I was with the 2nd Marines at Bella Wood. The things that went on in that farmhouse. My own guys on fire, screaming for a way
That's
out.
in World War I.
You're not gonna get this guy. There's gonna be no photos and no citations. We're gonna kill this miserable fuck. End of story. You getting this?
You remember the list from the travel agent?
Sure.
The Morellis were winners too. Their name was on that list.
Christ.
That's not a coincidence.
We should take a look around. Work the neighbors, see what they know. I'll go across the street.
Okay, I'll try this side.
I haven't done this for years.
You don't
Questioning
look like
the
a
neighbors.
fireman.
This is very realistic in police procedure. Is police will typically go door to door, knocking on pretty much everyone on the street, maybe even the next street and the next street over, asking people if they remember they saw anything that night.
LAPD, can you tell me anything about the fire next door?
Terrible luck. Imagine after having won that weekend away.
What's your name, sir?
Foreman. Dudley Foreman.
Morelli, a fire witness.
Did you see or hear anything that might have...
Look, we were asleep when we heard the explosion.
Okay, no. Bad cop. I'm gonna go with bad cop on this. It's like he just doesn't want to talk to the police.
You didn't like Morelli, did you?
Some neighbors you get along with, some you don't. Guess they should have sold up.
What do you mean?
They're knocking down all these old houses and building a new subdivision for GIs. Morelli was being difficult.
Well, why is that your business? It's his house, whether he wants to sell it or not. Planned demolitions.
You said someone is knocking these houses down?
Elysian Fields. You must know them. They're billboards. That Monroe character beaming down at you. We've had an offer for the house.
Did the Morellis want to sell?
I don't know.
Let me see what accused is.
You obviously know everything that goes on in this neighborhood. Morelli didn't want to sell, and you know why.
And how are you going to prove that I know what Morelli was planning, Detective?
He knew that they were gonna this guy, what I'll tell you about this guy is a male Karen. That is what I will tell you about this guy. Is there are people just like this guy in real life, and chances are you probably have a neighbor that's just like this guy. Pretty much almost every street has somebody like this all over the world, where there's that one neighbor who just cannot mind his own business and is just constantly looking at everything, observing everyone in the neighborhood, very picky.
Hey,
and
I don't have all day.
This guy probably
don't ask,
knows a lot more than what he's saying. Okay, hang on. Let me see promotional travel contest.
You said the Morellis had won a weekend away to Catalina Island?
Yeah, that's right. First thing I thought after the explosion was, thank goodness they was away. But then I find out they was still in there.
Who was running the competition?
What? I don't know. Mind if we move things along a little, Detective?
I'm gonna come back to this guy because I want to search the house, see if I can find the final evidence, because there might be something that I can use against him here. Oh. Housing development burns. Ex-serviceman irate as GI houses razed.
How did you get my number, Ira?
At first, I didn't understand you, but now I do.
I'd like you to come back to the clinic.
I'm helping other people now, Doctor.
I think you are confused. You haven't been to the clinic for weeks.
I'm not confused anymore, Doctor. I'm helping people be together.
This world is only temporary. We'll all be happier in heaven.
Why don't you tell me where you are and I can come to you? I think the fire should end now. They have served their purpose.
Oh, the fires are only beginning, Doctor. After the fires, everything will be beautiful and clean.
Everything will be erased. The world will be fresh and new.
I can see my purpose now, Doctor. And you helped me to find it.
That's the guy who's burning down the houses, and I will basically what's happened is that he was a friend of Courtney's, and he was suffering from PTSD from fighting in the Pacific War during World War II. And Fontaine basically told him that to confront his past, he needs to, burn down a house, start a fire, and he ended up killing an entire family. And he felt extremely guilty over that, horrible over it. And what ended up happening is he basically snapped, he went insane, and in his mind he was trying to justify basically that he killed the family, that he brought them to heaven. So he couldn't comprehend what he had done, and so he, in his mind, he just basically created that justification that he's sending people to heaven.
Looks like the same model.
What could I be missing here? Whoa. Probably something I missed here. I already checked that. What could I be missing?
This doesn't pertain to the case.
Well, the thing is, though, is a lot of people get pissed that there's a lot of useless stuff that you pick up in this game, that there's, like, not evidence at all. But that's the thing, it's your job as a detective to figure out what qualifies as evidence and what doesn't. And in a lot of video games, you can only find evidence, nothing else that you can find. But I like the fact that you can actually find useless junk in this game, because it's much more realistic. Because detectives find a lot of useless stuff when they're searching the scene. Maybe mailbox. No. Okay, this is not the scene anymore. I'm missing something here. I'll find it. I don't want to look up guides. I want to do everything all on my own always. What am I missing? I'll find it in a moment. gotta be something in the house. What am I missing? Ah.
Someone was keeping watch. Looks like they were here for quite a while. Brand looks distinctive.
So I spent half an hour running around trying to find evidence, and just skip to this part here. Didn't want to waste more than half the video just running around looking for that evidence. And it turns out it was in the neighbor's yard.
Whoever he was wearing boondockers. I would know that imprint anywhere.
Okay, now I can finish talking to this guy. Planned demolitions.
You said someone is knocking these houses down?
Elysian Fields. You must know them. They're billboards. That Monroe character beaming down at you. We've had an offer for the house.
Did the Morellis want to sell?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, BS. They He says that they want a weekend vacation. Houses, land cleared to allow construction of returned soldiers' housing. Let's try bad cop. Yes.
Whatever you thought of Morelli, his whole family is dead. They couldn't have all deserved that. I want you to help me here, Foreman.
Morelli was pig-headed. He built the house himself. He didn't want to sell. Stubborn fool was ruining it for all of us.
I can't stand people like this. It's his house. It's his business whether he wants to sell or not. You can't tell other people to sell their house. Promotional travel contest.
You said the Morellis had won a weekend away to Catalina Island?
Yeah, that's right. First thing I thought after the explosion was, thank goodness they was away. But then I find out they were still in there.
Who was running the competition?
What? I don't know.
Yeah, no. If he was, here's the thing about this, is this guy hates the Morelli family, but yet he knows so much about them. How? Because he's spying on them. And so he would know they won a contest. He would know also who's hosting the contest. There's no way he wouldn't. So he would know that who's hosting the contest as well if he was spying on them. Let me see what accused is here.
I think you know plenty about the competition, Mr. Foreman. I think Morelli was holding out, and that was threatening all the other sales that were taking place around here.
That may or may not be true. You can speculate all you like, but you have no way of proving what you just said.
Well, actually, I do. It's what you just said. It's literally 1 minute ago, he literally just said Morelli was holding out and ruining it for everyone, and now he's saying you have no evidence. Okay. Statement from a neighbor indicating Morelli family had won a weekend vacation. I think you know plenty about the competition. Statement from neighbor indicating Morelli family had won a weekend vacation.
You're off the hook, for now.
This or bad cop? Look at his face, he's like... That's like his face right now. Bad cop? Let's try it.
I need more, Mr. Foreman. Tell me what you know about the Suburban Redevelopment
I should have
Fund.
used his statement.
I know nothing about it. I've never heard of them.
Oh yeah, you never heard of them. Suspicious activity?
Did you see anyone hanging around the Morelli's home prior to the explosion?
Nope. Can't say as I was looking out, though.
Let me see what accuses.
I think you're covering for someone, Foreman. Who is it?
And I think you are off your rocker. How can you make an accusation like that? What proof have you got?
Pile of smoked, Calderon cigarettes found in front of neighboring residents. And there's 3 cigarettes there, meaning that guy's been there for hours. So how can somebody be smoking cigarettes in your front yard and you don't know that they've been there for hours? Footprints, close to burnt house, tread pattern matching USMC boondockers. But there's no evidence he's covering for the person,
Like I made a mistake.
I'm gonna go with bad cop.
You sure,
Okay.
Mr. Foreman? There are signs of someone hanging around over there by the fence.
Hey, now that you come to think of it, there was a guy. Kind of tall. Skinny, though.
Anything else?
Orange lumber jacket, beat-up hat, and no hair. I thought he was the pest exterminator guy who was working around here the last few days. But that guy had hair.
Thanks for your time, Mr. Foreman.
Sure. Hey, if you're interested, I have one of those competition flyers in the kitchen. I could get it for you if you like.
That would be great.
Are you serious right now? Oh.
Any luck, Cole?
He had the damn competition flyer, and literally I called him out saying that you... Oh my god, that he didn't know who's running the competition, and yet he's like, oh, I got a competition flyer. You gotta be kidding me right now, too. And also, he even knew who the exterminator was in the neighborhood. This guy spies on everyone.
A couple of things. What did you pick up?
What was I supposed to choose for that answer? Can somebody let me know in the comments? What did I get wrong on that one there? Because he did know about the competition.
Japanese call it origami. Can I take a look?
Sure.
Paper crane. There's a legend about them. You fold 1,000 of these and you get a wish.
Hey, don't break it.
I'm not. I'm unfolding it. It looks like a waybill or a flyer.
Building a Better California. Want you to buy your old home today.
For Elysian Fields Developments.
Elysian Fields.
Oh, I see you already have one.
When did the flyer arrive in your mailbox?
They've been arriving for weeks. This one was in the mailbox when I got home from work yesterday afternoon.
Okay, so he knew that it was Elysian Fields who was hosting the competition.
Vultures, officer. But...
I need an address for a property developer. Elysian Fields Developments.
One moment, Detective. The address is 748 North Oxford Avenue, Wilshire. Anything else?
Messages, please.
If you have a message, contact Captain McKelty immediately.
Thanks. Can you put me through, operator?
Of course. Here you are.
Cole should have hanged up on her, because she didn't say, "How can I help, Detective?"
Leads in the Morelli fire.
We're about to go and visit Elysian Fields Developments.
You're about to do what? Leland Monroe. He's a personal friend of the mayor and the chief. Are you out of your mind? I'm warning you, Phelps.
Commander, we have a line of inquiry.
You have something, you bring it to me. You're hanging by a thread, Phelps. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Good. Have a report on my desk today.
You see this corruption? This is ridiculous.
Kelty has warned us off over Elysian.
Makes sense. It's a dead end. We should check out Rancho Escondido.
You know the place?
Sure. Corner of Fountain and Wilton. Let's go.
Also, back then, the police would also be really hesitant to accuse rich people of crimes. Very powerful people also, too. And here's the thing I'll tell you about this, is rich privilege pretty much still exists today. In America. It's not as bad as, like, the 50s and the 40s, but rich privilege still exists. Is that if you are a rich person, the chances of you getting away with a crime, that if you commit the same exact crime as a poor person, if you're a rich person, the chances of you getting away with the crime, especially if you're a very well-known rich person, the chances of you getting off from that crime, getting away with it, are much higher than the poor person. It's actually not equal. You're not going to be, you don't have the same amount of chances of getting convicted of that as well, or getting, the same punishment as well. And I'll give you an example for people who don't believe me that rich privilege exists. Look up the college scam. The college scam specifically, it happened a number of years ago. What the college scam basically was, it was, in the United States, we have these exams called the SAT exams. This is an exam that's basically across all 50 states. And the SAT exam, I think the highest that you can get on that is 2,400. I think that's the highest score that you can get. And depending on the score that you get on the SAT, colleges look at that a lot. So if you get a very high score in the SAT, chances are you actually might get accepted to a pretty good school. And so what a lot of rich celebrities did, we're talking like actors, directors, people in Hollywood, what they did was they basically paid off like really smart students. So they would find like really, really smart students and they would pay them to go take the SAT. And so those students that they would pay to go take the SAT, they would go and take the SAT and they would pretend to be the rich celebrities' kids. Because the rich celebrities were trying to get their kids in these fancy schools and they knew that with the test scores that kids had, they wouldn't be able to get in with the grades that they had. Their kids were not as intelligent as they thought they would be, they wanted to be. And so what happened is they ended up having paying off these smart kids to basically go into these SAT exams, pretend to be the rich celebrities' kids, and take the exams. And they got really high grades on this. I don't remember how the scam got exposed. I don't remember how. I don't know how that got exposed. Somebody let me know in the comments how we found out about it. I don't remember where it came from, how we discovered it happened. But we discovered it happened years later. So it wasn't like right when it was happening. We found out years later. And what ended up happening is a lot of the celebrities, I don't think anyone served any jail time for that. Nobody served any jail time. And not only did they not serve any jail time, they're fines. Like, these rich people, like, when they get charged these fines, like, if you got some, like, really rich Hollywood director or some really rich Hollywood actor, giving them a fine for something like this, it's almost nothing. It's just like spending money for them. It's nothing, basically. And also, the kids ended up graduating college and they got degrees. You want to know my opinion on this? Should the kids lose their degrees? I think they should. I think they should lose their degrees too, because while they might have completed the school requirements, they might have completed their classes and such, is they got into college in a fraudulent way, and they took that spot away from somebody else. And so there's no way maybe these kids weren't the ones who hired those people to, to go in for them. Their parents did that, but they definitely knew about that. They knew that their parents had basically hired it. Like, how would they have gotten into these schools either way? These fancy schools, they hear about them having really high SATs. So I think that the kids of these celebrities who ended up graduating from these colleges and got these degrees, I think their degrees should have been revoked. They should have been taken away. And I think the parents should have been thrown in jail, all of them. All these actors, all these celebrities, all these people. So, like, I cannot stand that, personally, is, like, rich people, like, they commit a crime, throw them in jail. Just because you're a powerful person, you're a rich person, does not mean that you should get a lesser sentence than somebody who's poor. That I just, personally, for me, I just always hated that.
Rancho Escondido, the development that burned down. We gotta check it out.
Boxing's on the card at St. Helena's Gym in the Bronx tonight. Golden Gloves Boxing. First round bouts in the subnovice lightweight class, and it's strictly standing room only.
I think that's actually the Elysian Fields building right there.
For the time being, that is. Tony gets in a lick or two and seems to be able to absorb all that Matteo can dish out, which is plenty. But you can't tell on his
Any Sentry unit, 211 in progress, 522 South Hill Street, unit to handle code 3, identify.
Up they come and at it they go again, but it's about all over for Matteo's reporting. Next we have Tony Marino and Harold Clark. Same class, same vim and vigor. The youngster was game, but he was up against a couple of fists that packed a discouraging one, and the ref says that's all.
KTI is a member of the American Century Broadcasting Network.
Okay, gotta mute this for just a second. It sucks, but, like, I have to mute this even if it's just for a few seconds, because if it plays for more than 10 seconds, the video is gonna get copyright claimed.
You know, there are times when you really miss a nightstick. There's more religion in the end of a nightstick than in 100 cathedrals.
I'm not gonna tell you again, sir.
Don't tell me when and how I can come and go on my own property.
It is not
This is
safe,
America, dickhead.
Sir. Now step back, or I'll lock you up for a
Smart
fray.
mouth son of a bitch.
Okay, all right.
Oh, crap.
You've had a bad break, but this isn't the answer.
Good thing you showed up when you did, detectives. Those folks were baying for blood.
Okay, then. Let's see if there's anything left to take a look at.
Okay, Also, here's the thing is, it's kind of unrealistic they would have one police officer there, because if there's a group of protesters, an angry mob of people, you're probably gonna have more than one police officer there, so a bunch of houses burnt down in this area.
Mortar is like dust. Is that normal in a fire?
Poor cement
You'd expect
quality.
some shrinkage in the heat, but it looks like the cement barely adhered to the brick. Doesn't appear to be any wall ties either. This thing looks like it was built on the cheap. If we're paying a visit to Elysian and ruining my career, let's bite the bullet and get on with it.
We're ruining my career, huh? And remember what I said about the college scam, guys, is like the rich, you know, Hollywood celebrities got away with it. Is if me or you did that, is we'd be in jail.
Any unit in the vicinity, a citizen reports a 459 there now at 38 North Catalina. Unit to handle code 2 to identify. Continue the response.
Okay.
Who's the cop who arrested that movie?
Very fancy building.
Detectives Phelps and Biggs, LAPD, to see Leland Monroe.
Do you have an appointment?
We're the police, lady. We don't need an appointment.
Can I tell him what it's about?
It's an official investigation.
There are 2 police officers here to see Mr. Monroe.
Send them through.
And that's our cue. Thanks, ma'am.
May I help you, gentlemen?
We would like to speak to Mr. Monroe.
I'm afraid it's impossible. Mr. Monroe's schedule is booked weeks in advance.
Cut to the chase, sister. Is he in?
I'm not at liberty to reveal that, officer.
So he hired you for your intelligence?
I find that offensive.
You have every right to.
This is getting us nowhere, miss.
Casino.
Would you like us to return with a warrant?
That won't be necessary, gentlemen. Come into my office.
So, I forgot about this interview. It's been so many years since I played this game. But Monroe, it's the hardest interrogation in the game with Monroe.
Big boy.
Sure, I'll have a scotch.
Biggs.
And also, for people wondering, $10,000 for a home? Back then, $10,000 was worth a lot more. We didn't have as much inflation back then. But Monroe is the hardest person to question in the entire game. I remember. I think there actually might even be a trophy for getting his all his questions right. But we're gonna try it. I might mess up. Hopefully, I don't. He's got models for all the houses that he's trying to build here.
We're investigating a series of domestic fires, Mr. Monroe.
It's terrible, boys. How can I help?
President of Elysian Fields Development. Elysian linked to arsons.
Elysian Fields and Suburban Redevelopment Fund flyers keep turning up in the vicinity of the fires.
They're turning up all over town, boys. Can you imagine the current demand for housing?
So that's your explanation, Mr. Monroe? Coincidence?
Explanation? Why, what's to explain? I advertise on radio and billboards for buyers, and I advertise for sellers using waybills.
Let me see what accused it.
We hear that Suburban is under severe time pressure to complete work on the new houses. I think you're getting heavy-handed about it, and it's gone wrong.
I hope you have some proof of how I'm involved in this. I'll be happy to sue you for whatever you're worth.
You're off the hook, for now. Elysian Fields and Suburban
He's
Redevelopment
so hard to
Fund
question.
flyers
He's
keep
so
turning
hard.
up in the vicinity of the fires.
They're turning up all over town, boys. Can you imagine the current demand for housing?
So that's your explanation, Mr. Monroe? Coincidence?
Explanation? Why, what's to explain? I advertise on radio and billboards for buyers, and I advertise for sellers using waybills.
Let me use an intuition point here. I think it's bad cop, but I don't know. Yeah, it's bad cop. Okay, let's try.
We found a family burnt out in their home. Another house burned to the ground. Another Elysian Fields flyer. Our information is that they didn't want to sell.
Are you saying that's something to do with me? Is that your point?
Point is, every time we find a family barbecued, we find one of your flyers. Is that good advertising?
Promotional travel contest.
What do you know about a competition for families to win free vacations to Catalina Island?
My company runs many promotions. I'm not familiar with that one.
Let me see what Hughes is.
Level with me, Mr. Monroe. You know all about the vacation offers.
You can believe whatever you like, son. You're missing the vital ingredient called proof.
Promotional flyers. It's his face is right on the flyer, so how did he not know? I'm gonna try this one. Please, please get it right.
Your face is all over the flyers, Mr. Monroe. You know about the prizes, and you're aware that they get given to holdouts.
My face is the brand. It's on all our advertising. Did you know that the mayor and the chief of police are part of the Suburban Redevelopment Fund? You want to accuse them of murder as well?
He's threatening you right now. Local land acquisitions. Okay, let's see.
We've made offers to buy houses in areas where fires have been recorded.
Are you suggesting that I'm burning people out of their homes so that I can sell them new ones?
What happens to your plans if a family like the Morellis refuses to sell?
We work around them. Business finds a way. That's the American way.
This is such a hard interrogation. Local land acquisitions.
We've made offers to buy houses in areas where fires have been recorded.
Are you suggesting that I'm burning people out of their homes so that I can sell them new ones?
What happens to your plans if a family like the Morellis refuses to sell?
We work around them. Business finds a way. That's the American way.
Let me see what accuses.
I think you're being less than candid, Mr. Monroe. You're building these homes to some timetable. You're under pressure to get rid of the holdouts.
And how exactly do you think you can prove that in a court of law, detective?
Returning soldiers are coming back from the war. It's a I think it would be this. This is the timetable.
Developers under time pressure, son. On one hand, you got the investors who want a return. On the other, the purchasers who want what they paid for. That's business. Now, are we finished?
I tried, guys. I tried. It was bad. It had to have been bad cop then. That's what it was. I thought it was because the soldiers were returning from the war that they need a place to stay. It's like they're looking for houses. They're pressured. But Rancho Escondido fire.
What's Elysian Field's involvement in Rancho Escondido?
One of our latest housing developments. It was due to open on the weekend, or was before the unfortunate conflagration.
It met with building code regulation.
Absolutely. Only the best for our returning heroes.
BS. And when you really think about this, is how scummy is this guy, honestly, that, you know, he's already a scumbag. It's bad enough, like, you know, being involved in crap like this, burning down people's homes to, you know, to build up new ones, but the fact that he's doing this to returning World War II veterans, people who fought for their country, disgusting person. So I'm gonna go with accused. I'm pretty confident this is accused.
You're lying, Monroe. There's something out of kilter about that development.
Son, I've had enough of you and your fidgety friend. There's no way in hell you can prove that my materials were inferior.
Think I can. Okay. Poor cement quality. Burnt buildings show evidence of poor build quality and low-grade materials.
I'm no expert, but I think we'll find that the bricks being used on those houses are undersized and the mortar is faulty.
And there's no wall ties connecting the masonry to the frame.
Every building is built to a budget, boys. Those buildings were inspected and fully insured by California Fire and Life.
His
investment of that magnitude demands it. Do you think that they'd vouch for the buildings without examining them? The arsonists. Do you have any suspects?
We aren't at liberty to say.
I didn't think so. The contractors I use for waybills. Do you suppose it could be any of them? I have a list of their names if it'd be of any help.
That would be very helpful, Mr. Monroe.
Glad to hear it. I'm always happy to help the LAPD. My secretary will provide you with that list. Did you know that I'm on the board of the police pension fund?
He's threatening him when he says that. It's a nice way of threatening. And also, when he says, he's like, oh, you know, the California government inspected this, it's because he's corrupt. He has massive connections to the government. He's you know, this guy, Monroe, is probably a billionaire. You know, billionaires didn't really exist in this time period yet. Maybe there were some, very few, but billionaires are people that, you know, started existing within the last few decades. But this guy, the money that he has, he doesn't have the billions, but the amount that he has in today's money would be technically make him a billionaire. And so just the connections that this guy has, that's why they're not looking at him.
What's the story? Any of these names ring a bell?
Joseph Bradley, Paul Jones, contractor. Chapman.
Herbert Chapman is on this list.
Find the phone. We need to know where we're at with Chapman.
Okay, we need a phone now.
Your boss is a fine man.
And that was the hardest interview in the game, guys, with Monroe. I think at least the Kelso one is also very hard. Kelso and Monroe are probably the hardest people to interview. But that was I tried my best. I got 3 to 4. I was really hoping I could get 4 to 4, but I tried my best on it.
Operator, give me R&I.
Putting you through now.
Cole Phelps, badge 1247.
How could I help, Detective?
Can you check whether we are still holding a Herbert Chapman?
Let me find out for you. He was released this morning, Detective. I'm sorry, Detective.
It's not your fault. Can you give me a last known address and put out an APB on the guy?
I'll get back to you, Detective. APB will go out over KGPL shortly.
Thanks for your help.
Well, I love the chase.
I hope I don't get a copyright claim for this.
A beautiful face delivers love for me in it. Give me your heart, and baby, I'll bill it. 'Cause I always kill the things I love.
Buy me a drink, Cole? No. Not even for old time's sake? Not even for that. You're not going to ask me why I'm here? I wouldn't give you the pleasure. We'll get around to it. She's in fine voice this evening. I wonder how the commander would feel Save about... the threats for someone who cares about them, Roy.
You're breaking my heart, Cole. You know how I feel about you. Stay away from Elysian Fields.
I should have known that you were playing errand boy.
You and your doofus partner. You have been warned.
Thanks for your cooperation, officer.
I love you.
Stay away. You have no idea the type of people that are involved in that company.
I have a pretty good idea, Roy. The same kind of people that sent you here.
Your investigation is finished. Homicide will be taking over from here. I've heard we've had a spate of grass fires in the hills that you and that hunchback might be able to handle. Thanks for the drink, Cole.
Ugh.
You get the message about Monroe?
Yeah. Earl delivered it. You?
McKelty. He started making noises about my pension.
Sorry about that, Herschel. I didn't mean to drag you into this.
Save it, Phelps. Monroe's an asswipe. And so was Earl. And so was McKelty when it's all said and done.
KGPL calling car 11K.
11K, go ahead.
11K, the last known address of suspect Herbert Chapman is 650 North Kingsley Drive in Wilshire.
Roger that, KGPL. 11K en route.
Let's go pick him up.
Also, somebody like Monroe is a massive scumbag, but he's always 2 steps ahead of everyone. Also, he's extremely intelligent, and Monroe happened.
Sugarloaf, didn't you?
I did, but I don't like to talk about it.
You come across a guy called Jack Kelso out that way?
You know Jack Kelso?
He's an insurance investigator over at California Fire and Life. Our paths cross from time to time. For some reason, seeing you makes me think of him.
Has Jack spoken to you about his experiences on Sugarloaf? Or the rest of the campaign?
Jack keeps stum just like you do. I know what it feels like to get back from conflict. You gotta respect that.
So, 2 things I was gonna say. Monroe had that list there on purpose. He had that list there in case the police would show up. And so he had that list there, and he's trying to frame Chapman for this. So, Chapman, I don't think Chapman has, if I remember the story correctly, Chapman has nothing to do with this. He's just being framed. Chapman is an arsonist. He's done fires before in the past, but he, as for these incidents, he has nothing to do with them. And another thing about it is, arson detectives are gonna know building codes really well. Firemen, like firefighters, anybody who works in any kind of, fire investigation, firefighters, arson detectives, they're gonna know building codes really well. They're gonna know buildings, how buildings are built, the years, the type of buildings, like, the foundations, the material. They're gonna know all of that. So that's how Herschel knew that really well, like when he brought up the foundations to Monroe. So they're gonna know pretty well about, like, building codes, how buildings work.
We're looking for Herbert Chapman.
I'm looking for him, too. I need him to move his car so I can mow the lawn.
He's definitely not here.
I've been banging on his door off and on for a couple of hours. Yeah, he's out somewhere. There's some kind of problem.
Let's take a look at the car.
Let's see what he's hauling around.
Mosquito
Motive,
coil.
opportunity, and hard evidence.
I'm already seeing ammunition, too. .45.
We should revise the APB. He's clearly armed.
Bennington is a parody off of Remington, by the way. Remington is an arms manufacturer that existed back then, and it still exists today. Remington actually originally had their headquarters in New York, but they actually moved out of New York years ago. And flyers.
Definitely gives him opportunity.
Hold it, Cole. There he is. It's Chapman. He's coming out of the laundromat. Shit. He's seen us.
Cops. Again.
Son of a bitch. He must have caught the trolley. We gotta move fast, Cole. I'll call this in. Get some cars dispatched. Car 11K calling KGPL.
Go ahead, 11K.
11K requesting assistance. In pursuit of suspect aboard the 1110 University streetcar. Currently heading east on Melrose Avenue.
Whoa.
Advise all units. Suspect is in
hijack
control of car and driving dangerously.
All units, officers need assistance on Melrose Avenue. A suspect aboard the 1110 University streetcar headed eastbound. Approach with caution. Suspect is in control of the streetcar and driving dangerously. Units to handle code 3 identified.
Stay on his ass, Cole. Don't lose him.
How are we gonna stop this?
See if he can damage one of the wheels. Might act like a brake and slow the thing down.
No! You gotta get me closer!
Hold him tight, Cole. As soon as he ditches the tram, we'll be there to grab him.
Whoa, okay.
End of the line, you little prick. Come on, Cole.
He's armed, so they gotta be careful, too. Crap, I couldn't even get my gun out, too. I think you have to shoot Chapman in this one. I don't think you're supposed to, Yeah, oh, great. I gotta do all this again, this whole thing.
There he is. It's Chapman. Slate's gone. Get me closer. I think I got a shot here. End of the line, you little prick. Come on, Cole.
There we go.
Looks like we have our man, Cole. Well done.
I'm not so sure. Chapman seemed to have his own agenda. There seems to be more to this than a personal vendetta.
What are you talking about?
Fires benefit Elysian in some way. I don't see Chapman and Monroe working together.
You have a point. The evidence is good for Chapman. It's hard to be worrying about his side of the story when he's blasting away with that big 45.
Nice work, gentlemen. Put yourself at considerable risk stopping that trolley and probably saved a lot of lives. Anyone else but you, Phelps, and you'd be up for a bravery award. We've had our eyes on that slippery son of a bitch Chapman for as long as I can remember. I couldn't be happier than to wipe him off the scoreboard. I hope this puts to bed that crazy stuff you had going about Leland Monroe. What were you thinking, Phelps? We'll be calling Richard Nixon a crook next.
Oh my gosh, that joke.
What is it?
A letter from Lou. His insurance policy named me beneficiary.
California Fire and Life. You worked for Elysian?
The roof that he was working on collapsed.
It's a very generous settlement. Elsa, I'd like you to do something for me. I think there's something dirty about Elysian Fields.
What has that got to do with Lou?
I want you to reject this settlement. I want you to go and see an investigator named Jack Kelso and ask him to make some inquiries about Lou's case.
Isn't this police work?
Do you want to find out what happened to Lou?
Why would he help this Kelso?
Jack won't be able to help himself if he smells a rat.
He's a friend of yours?
He hates my guts. Elsa, you could take this money and let them get away with it, or we could get Jack's help and do something about it.
Why not be honest with this man, Cole? He deserves your honesty if you want his help.
Believe me, Elsa, I'd like to level with him. I really would, but it's too late. Years too late.
Chapman takes his motive and any possible ties to Monroe and Elysian Fields to the grave. Yep. So I did pretty well in that case. It was 2 questions I messed up, but I tried my best. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Let me just see if there's a World War II cutscene. Is there one after this here? No, there isn't. Okay, so I guess we'll wrap this up here, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, do drop a like, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.